Hello, hello. We are preparing you for various set exams. Today it is NE-SLET. Dear friends, there is a lot common to all the set and SLET exams. So please watch all the set and SLET videos. We will also include information and ideas related to the previous year questions of each set and SLET. Okay, Ankita and me are here. Hello. Ankita, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
This is about NE-SLET. Day 1. It is paper 2 we are doing today. Okay. The term womanism was applied to Black feminism. You know that feminism is a very broad term. And in this broad term feminism, there are many sub-branches. Black feminism is there, and also womanism. Womanism is a term within Black feminism, and it focuses on sisterhood and woman-woman bonding. Ankita, is it coined by Toni Morrison, Maya Angelou, Alice Walker, or Audre Lorde?
Okay, so this idea or system of womanism was propounded by Alice Walker.
It is Alice Walker who talked about womanism. Alice Walker talked about it in Search of Our Mother's Gardens. Womanist prose it is. Alice Walker is the mother of Rebecca Walker, one of the important writers and feminists of the third wave. Rebecca Walker said, I am the third wave. And as you all know, Alice Walker wrote The Color Purple. It's an epistolary novel. Ankita, would you like to talk about Color Purple?
Okay, so The Color Purple, it's an epistolary novel by Alice Walker, and this novel has been told by its protagonist, Celie, in the form of letters. And through letters, she talks about her life. She says how from her childhood she was abused by her stepfather, how she gave birth to several children by her stepfather. Then she got married also to an abusive man. And then how her life takes shape through all these abuses, and then she becomes an independent woman. She was a good sewer. She sews clothes very well. She opens her own shop, and this camaraderie of Sally and another character, I can recall the name of the
Shag.
character. Yes, Shag. So
Shag
what
Avery.
actually, yes, this camaraderie of Shag Avery and Sally is, I think, one of the most fascinating aspects of Alice Walker's The Color Purple. This camaraderie of women.
That is womanism.
Yes,
Ankita has given a proper lecture on the novel, The Color Purple. All the works of Alice Walker could be important, they might ask you. Okay, when you talk about Alice Walker, remember all the other African-American women writers also important. For example, bell hooks, they might ask you questions. The poem Under Ben Bull Ben contains the epitaph of, otherwise, the epitaph of this great writer is taken from Under Ben Bull Ben. Who is the writer? Is it T.S. Eliot, WB Yeats, Wilfred Owen, or Dylan Thomas? It is WB Yeats, isn't it, Ankita?
Yes, yes.
WB Yeats wrote Under Ben Bull Ben. The Monk is a Gothic novel. You know, Gothic novels flourished at the end of the 18th century. Today in 6-month course, I was teaching that period, Romantic Revival. Matthew Gregory Lewis, Horace Walpole, Charles Maturin, and Radcliffe. Which of them wrote The Monk, the Gothic novel? Ankita?
Yes. So this Gothic novel was written by Matthew Gregory Lewis, and this novel charts the downfall of the monk Ambrosio. And it talks about his interactions with Matilda, who is actually Satan or demon in disguise. So it's a wonderful novel, and especially this tug of war between good and evil and a universal war. So very wonderful novel. And the storyline of temptation because monk Ambrosio is almost getting seduced by Matilda. So that's a very important motive of, temptation. So that's very important.
And Matthew Gregory Lewis wrote, that is the author. Matthew Gregory Lewis came to be called Gregory Monk Lewis. He wrote horror novels that are full of bloodshed and gory details, as against the terror novels of Anne Radcliffe. Horror novels are like slasher movies. Past and Present, a book which combines medieval history with criticism of 19th century British society. So, Past and Present combines medieval history with criticism of 19th century British society. Who is the author? Is it John Ruskin, Thomas Carlyle, Matthew Arnold, or Lytton Strachey? Past and Present is by Thomas Carlyle. Thomas Carlyle wrote many novels of heroes and hero worship. He wrote Chartism, a very important book where he talks about condition of England. He wrote Sartor Resartus, which is about an imaginary German professor. And Ankita?
Oh, the other works. Okay.
Thomas Carlyle was a critic of utilitarianism, and Charles Dickens dedicated his Hard Times to Thomas Carlyle.
Yes.
Yes. Would you like to read, Ankita?
Yes. In Sir Walter Scott's novel, The Heart of Midlothian, so this titular place, Midlothian, refers to what? What is it? A prison, a castle, an island, or a mountain? What does this Heart of Midlothian refer to?
What is Heart of Midlothian? What do you think, guys? Let us guess.
Yes.
Is it a castle?
No.
No. Okay. Is it a prison?
Yes.
Got it. It's like that, guys. Try once. You may not get it. Then try again.
It refers to the old Talbot prison in Edinburgh.
Yeah, Edinburgh.
Yes, Edinburgh.
Yes. Wonderful. Walter Scott wrote Waverley novels. He wrote Tales of the Crusaders, which includes The Talisman. He wrote Ivanhoe and Kenilworth. He was also a great poet. His historical novels were published anonymously, and he was called the Great Unknown. Yes, Ankita, you were saying something.
The Heart of Midlothian is actually the 7th Waverley novel. It's the 7th Waverley novel.
It is the 7th Waverley novel. Okay. Derrida's American disciples were, they were professors at Yale University. American disciples at Yale. Jeffrey Hartman, Paul D. Mann, J. Hillis Miller. Gertrude Stein, Barbara Johnson, Michael Ryan. Barbara Johnson, Michael Ryan, Mary L. Mann. Jean Baudrillard, Giles Deleuze, and Felix Guattari. YouTubers, tell us the answer. It is A, isn't it, Ankita?
Yes.
Jeffrey Hartman, Paul D. Mann, and J. Hillis Miller. Whose picture is this, Ankita?
It is our Geoffrey Hartman.
Jeffrey Hartman. Okay. Now, J. Hillis Miller wrote The Critic as Host. Paul D. Mann wrote Allegories of Reading. Correct. Ankita, your turn to read. It's a PYQ.
Which of the following works is not actually a prose essay? All of these are titled as essays, but one of them is not actually an essay in its form. So which work is that? Essay of dramatic poesy, an essay on man, an essay concerning human understanding, or an essay towards a new theory of vision?
The picture is a dead giveaway. It is Alexander Pope's An Essay on Man. It is poetry.
Yes, it's not an essay, it's a poem. So there you are. That's the answer.
The Prelude, although began as early as 1799 and finished in its first version in 1805, was not published until dash. 1815, 1820, 1830, 1850. Clue is the Prelude was actually published posthumously. So it must be 1850. That is when Wordsworth died. The first version of the Prelude published informally in 1805, that version had 13 books. But the 1850 version has 14 books. And it was called the Prelude because it is a prelude to The Recluse. The Recluse is an epic that Wordsworth wrote about himself. It was Mary Hutchinson, his wife, who called it the Prelude. Okay, Ankita, your turn.
Okay. So choose the wrongly matched pair. Here we have certain theoretical concepts or works matched with their writers. 3 of them are correct, but 1 of them is wrong. We have to choose which is the wrong one. Cleanthbrooke's paradox. William Empson ambiguity. Mark Schroeder techniques as discovery. Alan Badiou archetypal patterns in poetry. So one of these options is wrongly matched.
In such a question, dear friends, you have to eliminate 1 or 2 because they are surely correct or wrong. You should know 1 or 2, and then there will be 1 or 2 that you are a little confused about. So Cleanthbrooke's paradox is correct, so that is not the answer. William Empson ambiguity is correct, that is not the answer. Archetypal patterns in poetry is Maud Bodkin. Is it Alan Badiou? Maybe D is the answer, Ankita. That is wrong.
Yes, option D has been wrongly matched. It is Maud Bodkin.
Even though Mark Schroeder, you don't know anything about, it's fine. Because you can use other kinds of intelligence here. Archetypal patterns in poetry is a discussion done by Maud Bodkin. She is a myth critic. Okay. Whom does Mirabell deceive into believing that he loves her in the way of the words? In the way of the world, Bapre, everybody is having immoral affairs. And only Millamant does not have any affair. So Mirabell is deceiving somebody. I will give you a clue. It's a widow that he loves her. And he's sending his own servant to woo her at the same time. Is it Millamant? No. Is it Lady Wishford? Maybe. Is it Mrs. Marwood? No. Is it Mrs. Fainall? Mrs. Marwood is the villain. She is the friend of Fainall. Mrs. Fainall is the previous girlfriend of Mirabell. It is Lady Wishford. Okay, Ankita, your turn.
Now, again, we have to choose the wrongly matched pair. And I think, in any SLET exams, you can stay prepared for many such wrongly matched pair questions. The question papers are full of these types of questions. Okay. So here we have characters and some works. The White Devil, Vittoria Corombona. The Maid's Tragedy, Aspasia. Every Man in His Humor, Doll Common. And the Spanish Tragedy, Hieronimo. So one of these has been wrongly matched with its character.
You should know White Devil, Vittoria Corombona is correct. You should know that. Spanish Tragedy, Hieronimo is correct. So only 2 problems we have now. Doll Common is in some other work, not Every Man in His Humor. Isn't it, Ankita?
Yes. Doll Common is in The Alchemist by Ben Jonson.
You are not supposed to know about Maid's Tragedy, dear friends. Don't worry about it at all. That's how it works. You have to know Alchemist. That is what they mean by this question. Ankita, your turn.
Consume my heart away, sick with desire and fastened to a dying animal. The above lines are taken from which poem of WB Yeats? Is it Felix Randall, Sailing to Byzantium, Cooley and the Bailey, 1931, or The Second Coming? Again, we know first year it is not The Second Coming. So,
no, it is. It is.
No.
Consume my heart away, sick with desire and fastened to a dying animal is from Second Coming.
Sailing to Byzantium.
Oh, sorry, Sailing to Byzantium. Correct. I am very good at confusing everybody. At 10 o'clock, 9:30, some brains stop. It is not second coming, it is say sailing to Byzantium. In sailing to Byzantium, he's going to Byzantium. And he's saying, because he says, this is no country for old men. He's an old man and he does not want to stay in that country. That means Ireland or Dublin. And he says, if he wants to survive spiritually, he should go to Byzantium, see the sages standing in God's holy fire on the frieze, mosaic frieze of Byzantine churches, and he has to pray to them. His heart should sing in praise of God, he says. And he's telling those sages that who are made on the walls. They are embedded on the walls in the mosaic. He's telling those sages, consume my heart away, sick with desire and fastened to a dying animal. What is the dying animal? This body. This body is the dying animal. And he says that now he will leave his body and become a golden bird in Byzantium, singing to the lords and ladies of Byzantium of what is passing or to come, of what is past or passing or to come. That is what Sailing to Byzantium is. It is the first poem. It has a companion poem. It is called Byzantium. These two are very important modernist poems of WB Yeats. Right? And I was saying, it is second coming. It is not second coming. Okay. Right. Which of the following is true? Aurora Leigh is a poem in 9 books. Heto, 9 books, number of Sibyls, correct?
Yes.
Aurora Leigh is a collection of sonnets from the Portuguese. No, it's a verse novel or a poem. It is a verse novel or a poem. Aurora Leigh is a nursery rhyme book. Nahi to. Aurora Leigh is the seeds and fruits of English poetry. वो क्या होता है?
No, it's also wrong. Only option A is correct.
It's a verse novel. Okay, Ankita.
Yeah.
Hey, Atwood.
In one of her novels, Margaret Atwood demonstrated the potentially cannibalistic nature of human relationships. So identify the novel. So which novel is it? Surfacing, Lady Oracle, Life Before Man, or The Edible Woman? I think the title itself is a big giveaway. Where the title itself
Where
demonstrates
Marian
cannibalistic.
McAlpin is working for the marketing research company. And she is working in the realm of consumerism. And because of that, she feels that she is being consumed by her boyfriend, Peter, who wants to marry her. And she wants to escape from that marriage because it's very patriarchal. And she makes a cake and tells him, this is my body, eat it. And Peter runs away. So it is the edible woman. She is suffering from anorexia nervosa or bulimia. Okay, Ankita.
Who is the protagonist of Shashi Deshpande's That Long Silence? Mohan, Jaya, Rati, or Kamat? So who is the protagonist? She's a very... Yes.
The protagonists are always women. Can't be Mohan.
Huh.
Shashi Deshpande. Rati and Kamat nahi. Jaya, Hindu, Maya, like that names she gives. It is Jaya.
Yes, Jaya.
Nice blouse. Okay. In Spenser's The Fairy Queen, there are the allegorized moral and religious virtues. Moral and religious virtues are allegorized with their counterparts. Identify the correctly matched pair. It's a PYQ. Una, she is not deceit. Una is true church. Duessa is deceit. Britomart, pride. Is it true? Britomart is chastity. Gaian, temperance is correct. Gaian is the knight of temperance. Orgoglio is not truth. Orgoglio is a giant. Truth must be Red Cross knights. So, Gaian, knight of temperance. Okay, Kita.
The Tatler appeared thrice a week. So which 3 days are those? On Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, or Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. So it was a British periodical started by Richard Still from
In
1709
1709.
not 9 onwards. So it came out on which 3 days of the week?
Tatler is TTS.
Huh.
So Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. And Spectator was a daily when it first came in 1711. And then it was revived in 1713. That was 3 days a week. Which among the following plays by Aristophanes is an attack on modern education and morals, as imparted and taught by the radical intellectuals known as the sophists? He is attacking the sophists, especially Socrates. He is calling Socrates a sophist. Is it the clouds, the wasps, the Acarnians, or the knights? It is the clouds, I think.
Yes, it is indeed the clouds.
He's attacking the sophists and Socrates. Ankita.
George Meredith's first novel was banned by Moody's circulating library for its supposed moral offense. Identify the novel. So which novel was it? The Egoist, Evan Harrington, Diana of the Crossways, or The Ordeal of Richard Feverel? It was his debut novel, and because of the sexual frankness it dealt with, Moody's circulating library banned this novel. And they didn't keep any stock of this novel, which actually hampered the sale of this particular novel.
Ayyo. Now, guys, they will ask you chronology of all these novels. Ayyo. When you study which is the first novel, which is the early novel, which is the later novel, samajhna, please. Ankita, you got to help us. We don't know anything about George Meredith.
It is The Ordeal of Richard Feverel.
Bapre, I was thinking it must be either Egoist or Diana of the Crossways.
And its subtitle is also very interesting. A History of Father and Son.
Aha. ये क्या है? Dombey and Son वाला novel. The Ordeal of Richard Feverel. Ta-dang! Oh, yo, itna kuch. Albert Camus, in his essay, The Myth of Sisyphus, conveys, YouTubers, read carefully, the concept of naturalism? Nahi. The absurdity of human existence? Yes. The futility of human endeavor? Yes. The concept of existentialism? Yes. Is it 2, 3, 4, Ankita?
Yes, options 2, 3, and 4 are correct. Option B.
2, 3, and 4. The Myth of Sisyphus, 1942 essay, where he talks about the concept of absurdity. That is the end of today's session. Did you like it, guys? Did you like it, guys? If you liked it, read extra. And we will be back with more amazing questions. Promise. Can't we promise, Ankita?
Yes, absolutely.
So that brings us to an amazing end of an amazing day. Happy studying. God bless you all. Have a wonderful, peaceful night. We will be back with more. Bye.
Bye.